devastating wildfires, another stark reminder of the impacts of climate change. The president's comments echo those of Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, his buddy, who also believes these are massive fires are tied back to the same issue. Joining me now, the director of the American Loggers Council, Scott Dane. Scott, okay, there's a lot of things to unpack here. Trudeau and President Biden, they're blaming climate change on this. Agree or disagree?
Oh, I absolutely disagree. Whether you think that climate change has anything to do with this or not, there's only one thing that we can influence that's contributing to these fires, and that's the fuel load within the forest as a result of lack of management or mismanagement. And we see that in Canada as well as the United States.
Yeah, but so obviously your profession is logging, okay? You bring the wood to the markets that we use to build everything in our society. Your profession has kept forest fires out of burning massively out of control for years by prevention. And you've been demonized for it by the Green New Deal people. Talk about how big a deal it is to maintain our forests.
We are part of the solution, not the problem. I was at a meeting with the governor of Minnesota a while back with the commissioner of the DNR, and the commissioner said to the governor, says, "Governor, we don't manage the forest, the loggers do it for us. We are the tool, the stewards of the forest, and healthy forests require management."
Yeah, well, I'm clearly. So they're doing these control, a lot of people do these control burns. Look, I own property. I've done small control burns to manage areas of the forest. But why is this so vital, and why have they just not done it?
Well, it's, to tell you the truth, it is a vital tool in controlling the undergrowth, the understory, and to prevent it from reaching up at the ladder fuel into the crowns of the trees and then going crazy when a wildfire does in fact occur. Unfortunately, the U.S. Forest Service had a controlled burn last year, I think it was, in New Mexico that got away from them and destroyed a lot of properties and things like that. So, there's some negatives behind it, but without that, absent that tool, we're going to be faced with understory hazardous fuels accumulation that's going to create much more severe wildfires. In fact, here's the bottom line. It's really simple. Less trees create less fuel, create less severe fires. Right. If you're not going to accept that fact that the fuel in the woods, the fuel in the forest is a timber, and quite often dead timber, right, because it's mismanaged, then you're going to be supporting the consequences that we're facing right now, right, all along the East Coast, and that the West Coast has faced, right, for years on end, every single year. And
you're not talking about stripping the mountainsides clean. You're talking about legitimate logging for commercial purposes, obviously. But one of the other things that you actually mentioned to my team beforehand is this mountain pine beetle that has been wreaking havoc on a lot of these pine trees, creating just dead standing forests. What is this about?
Again, it goes back to forest management. So it's kind of a vicious circle, because if you don't have forest management, then you have overdense forests, overcrowded, if you will, and they can't grow healthy, and they become weak and susceptible to disease and infestation of the bugs. The bugs come in and kill the timber, and you've got millions of acres of dead timber across Canada, as well as areas in Colorado and the United States, and it's just dead standing timber waiting for a lightning strike or something else to ignite it, and you see the consequences, right, in the United States and right now in Canada. There you go, dead timber.
Obviously, Scott, I got about 20 seconds. I mean, humans can't manage everything, but if you were sitting there across from Justin Trudeau, what would you tell him right now?
Well, it's a fuel situation. Green trees don't burn like dead trees do. Yeah. Manage your forests, keep them thin, keep them healthy. And then they can sequester carbon and contribute to the efforts to address climate change. But burning timber, burning forests do not sequester any carbon.
Well, Scott, I think that people should consider who the real environmentalists are, and it's certainly not Justin Trudeau. Appreciate you coming on, Scott Dane.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, the political witch hunt of the former president continues as the world braces